There's a lot to learn about vintage Omega watches. In this video, I will go through 8 crucial things about vintage Omega that you may not know. Some of these factors you can apply to other brand names as well. Before I get started, if this is your first time watching my video or you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on another future episode. You'll not find a better vintage watch educational channel on YouTube than this one. Without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. Trideum Luminous without the T's next to Swiss made. Notice how all 4 of these dials have Trideum Luminous, however none of them have T Swiss made T below 6 o'clock. These are just a handful of examples, as there are many more like these. Hence, the next time you see a dial like this, do not mistake it as a redial, as these are factory original finished dial. From my research and accumulation of examples, I find that this happens a lot for models from 1966 to 1969 and the early 1970s. I've only noticed on faux steel watches and have not yet come across one in gold tone or solid gold. However, this does not only arise on regular automatic but occurs on some chronograph dials as well. At the end of the day, do not judge a watch dial immediately until you have 100% thoroughly examined it. Number 2. Onyx or not onyx. Whenever you see a black block between an hour marker, it can be just a layer of black paint or a rubber strip. It is not always black onyx. This applies to any Omega watch model, and the same looking marker can also exist in any of these 3 forms. So how can you tell them apart? When the marker has a layer of black paint, the front and back side profile will only show metal. When it is black onyx, it is shiny in person, and if the second hand is long enough to sweep over, you'll be able to see its reflection. And on the other hand, the rubber will appear precisely like black onyx in a photo, but dull in person. Number 3. Imperfection print. One would assume a factory original finish dial has to be perfect. Unfortunately, that is not always the case, especially when it comes to an early dial such as those from the 1940s and earlier. So I have 2 1940s Omega watches in this photo, and you will notice that the logo on each is not center, but these are factory original finish dial. So before I continue, please support my work by giving this video a thumbs up. It's free to do and will only take a few seconds. Number 4. Automatic weight transition. I have had several emails regarding this topic. It's about automatic weight center for the following caliber. These calibers are based on a caliber 550. 1959 to mid-1969, you'll notice that the automatic weight center will appear different from late 1969 to the early 1970s. Therefore, if you find the automatic weight like the above example in this picture on a 1965 movement, you'll know that someone has replaced the weight or modified the movement, vice versa. Number 5 and 6. Is it usual to have a single T next to Swiss made? And where are the luminous on the dial? To answer the first half, seeing a single T on a luminous dial is normal. From what I know, single or double T's on an Omega dial represent the same thing. T means that the dial in hand should have Trideum Luminous. This takes us to solve the next question. Where are the luminous located on these 2 dials? On the left photo, you can see that the luminous is the green strip going down the center of each hour markers. And on the right photo, it is the small green block inlay close to the edge of each hour markers. Number 7. Arrowhead hour markers with luminous. Many Omega enthusiasts never knew that a constellation watch dial with Arrowhead hour markers could come with luminous. In fact, a handful of 1950s and early 1960 constellation watches with Arrowhead hour markers do come with the luminous feature, like those on a case model 2852, 14381, and 14393. There are two versions with luminous feature. One, the luminous is next to the marker's point, and the second is the luminous will locate on the hour marker itself. Number 8. Swiss made is missing on the dial. Many novice watch collectors will assume that a dial without the word Swiss or Swiss made is a redial, but that is not always true. It is typical for the 1940s and earlier timepiece to have a dial without the word Swiss or Swiss made. Examining a dial is probably the most difficult thing to learn in this hobby. Still, it is something that you will naturally pick up and understand after a few years of collecting or studying vintage watches. As always, if you made it this far into the video, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I hope as always that you have learned something new and will share it with your watch buddies. Making one of these videos takes up a lot of my time, so your kind support by liking this video will help immensely. That's the end of this episode, and I look forward to seeing you in the following video.